Jerry, where have you gone?
I'm not on your monitor or what?
For some reason, you've disappeared. Oh, God.
Huh,
These are the kinks we need
not
to
good.
figure out, but we'll figure
Hmm.
this out. But
Yeah, that's not
what?
too.
While I'm fixing this, hello, you're watching Tech Flashback. And Jerry's back. He's back on the screen. That's great. My bad.
Okay.
You're watching Tech Flashback, a PC gaming and hardware news live show focused on the biggest stories of the past week. I'm your co-host. We're going to do the thing, Jerry. I'm your co-host, Jack Isaac of House PC Jack. And I'm joined by my co-host, Jerry Reese of House Top 3 Entertainment. Nearly got it there.
Let's go. Let's
And
go.
yep, we got a lot of stories to catch up on, especially because we've been away for a while. So we got a lot to cover, and it's very exciting. So let's roll that intro. Now I feel like the intro we maybe should have had like the Game of Thrones theme going off to here, but
Oh yeah, that would have been pretty cool.
there may have been some copyright issues there, so we won't put it
Yeah.
past there. So that's totally fine.
We'll
But
just do it a cappella.
yeah,
Yeah.
copyright strike already, and it's been 3 weeks, but never mind. But yeah. So how are things with you, Jerry? It's been a while. We've been a bit busy, haven't we?
Yes, sir. It's crazy being a content creator, huh?
Oh, definitely. That is the life of a content creator. But how are things going for you over on Top 3 Entertainment?
Not too bad. I'm very close to 500 subs. I can't get over that hump.
I have
But
seen
we're getting
you're
there.
getting close. You're really close to it now.
I got I had gotten like 3 subs in one day, and then I had lost 3 subs in one day. I was like, what kind of cruel joke is this?
Oh, that is a bit annoying when that happens.
Yeah, it's fine. Part of the
But
process.
that's the way it
But
goes.
yeah, it hasn't been too bad. And been enjoying content creating and streaming. I feel like I am picking up the pace more when it comes to views and stuff like that. So that's nice.
That's cool. That's really good. Were you working on anything for this week?
Um, I got a PNY Accelerate 3070.
Nice. Okay.
Sorry, it's just the name of it's weird. It's a PNY Accelerate Gaming Rebel 3070.
Okay. You know it's hardcore when it's got Rebel in the name of the card.
Yeah, and it's spelled with the V.
Oh,
So it's,
even more.
yeah.
It's real.
So I don't know. It's a
It's a,
Rebel.
it's a real gamer card sounding. That's what it is.
Yeah. And well, I'll give you guys a sneak peek of what I think of it. It's probably one of the best looking cards I've seen. If you vertically mount it, it looks
Okay.
almost like the Rock Strix, like the little metal. But if you just have it in your PC case regularly, you can't see no lights, and it's like just black. So they really messed up their design.
I still think that's one of the biggest problems with GPU advertising is that they put a lot of effort into advertising the bottom end or the underside of the card, which the side you're not going to see anyway most of the time, unless you
Yeah,
vertically mount it. But no, it's always good, especially when they put thought into that. So if people do want to vertically mount it, they've got that option there for it to look even better as well. I know for like, well, my 3060 Ti wouldn't look that great vertically mounted. There's not much going on, no RGB or anything like that. My 38 FE may be a bit more interesting, but I think that would be a bit of a difficult one to use vertically, just because of the way the cooler design works on it. But no, I'm interested to see how you get on with the review though. So that would be this Friday.
yeah. This Friday,
Nice.
if everything goes as planned.
That's cool. That's good. Um, I'm a bit busy, as I think you've seen as well, with the streamer capture system. I could put up on here
Oh
if
yeah.
people have a little peek just to see how it's looking. But I'm quite happy with it. It's still taking a bit of getting used to with like a dual streaming setup. I need a bigger desk. Just putting that out there. That's the most important thing right now for me. But
Um, do you have Facebook?
no, I don't have Facebook.
Uh, do you have like offer? I don't know. I would say I bought my desk locally. It was $40. This is really nice wooden desk. Probably like a $200, $300, $400 desk. $40. I would
Okay,
recommend going that route. Check
that
local sales.
that's probably what I would do. Like I could just make like a burner Facebook just to find stuff like that. But ideally, I'd have like a corner setup. So like like desk setup in like a 90-degree angle sort of thing. So like system one to
Yeah,
here, system two but there. That'd probably be a bit more ideal. But I'm getting used to it at the moment. If it works, it works. If not, then we'll just have to think about it. But I'm quite happy with how it looks. I think some people are a little divided about it, but I've never built a PC with pink before, so I wanted to try it out just
sure.
to see how it looked. But I was happy enough with it. But and it's also, I think it's the first PC like actual system I've put together since my TrueNAS, I think, and that was like over a year ago. So it's been some time. I was just happy to just build a system, which
Oh yeah, it looks great.
thank you. I'm quite happy with it. I'm quite happy with the capture card as well. It's a bit better than the EVGA one I've got, and I think it looked okay. Like you tuned in for my test stream yesterday, and I think it was looking
Yeah,
all right. I'm playing that Rollerdrome. I don't know if you've seen it advertised before, but I quite like it. It's pretty good if you like look at that Tony Hawk itch that you need to scratch. But
yeah,
it's okay though. But yeah,
yeah. I like the look of it. It looks subtle. Well, not the game, but your PC. It looks nice. I think since it's not overdone, the lighting and the wires, it's not too bad.
I think I
I think
deserve
it's a nice
some
little touch.
credit because I actually put RGB in a system.
Yeah, I think so. I
That's
think
a
you
little bit
see.
of credit there.
That's the streaming part, because you said that's the one that is to stream your PC and stuff.
That's it, yeah. So you have
Yeah,
to
so
have
that's the
RGB.
gamer.
That brings the viewers in if
Yeah.
you've got some RGB. So it's totally fine. But yeah, it's still got a bit of setting up to do. I was surprised I would have it ready for tonight, to be honest. But we'll see how it goes. Like had a little bit of technical difficulties at the beginning, but we're getting there. We're figuring things out. But yeah, the actual review for the case will be going live this Friday. So that was pretty fun to take a look at because it was the first case I've reviewed since the Torrent Compact. But no, it should be good. So you guys can have to keep an eye out for both the case review as well as a GPU review from Jerry. So we're covering a bit of a variety there. But I'll definitely be checking out your review on Friday as well, Jerry, because I'm a keen viewer and I like to get in on the ground floor.
You know what's
But
pretty funny?
what's that?
We release our videos. We release our videos around the. I think we have like the same schedule. We stream on the same days, and then we release our videos on the same days. So
Well, but that is cool. But I think there may be a slight change, which I'm contemplating. I'm actually thinking about going back to 2 uploads a week, maybe from next month. And it kind of ties in a bit with Tech Flashback. I was thinking about doing what I'd refer to as like a news roundup video. So I probably discuss
okay.
some of the stuff we talk about on the show, but in like a 10-minute video, 15-minute video maybe, something like that. Just to try out something now, because like I haven't done many news videos on the channel in a while. So it's just figuring things out and just seeing if it works or not. And that way it's getting a bit more content out and then maybe seeing about like introducing some more shorts. Just thinking to like up the output a little bit more, if I can. But I don't want to overdo
I
it.
understand. Dang, I just got fired, huh? Well, it's nice knowing you guys. It's been a fun run. I'll
Oh,
make sure you
you're
guys
not
tune in
going
to
anywhere, Jerry. You're staying here. It's absolutely fine.
All right,
No,
cool.
funny enough, we're gonna have a very important episode next month. I can't remember which week it'll be, but it will be the 1 year anniversary of Tech Flashback. So we're gonna have to
Oh, nice.
mark the occasion for that. But yeah, we got not as many topics as we would normally cover, but I think we had to open up things with a bit of a warm-up discussion regarding what is probably the biggest pop culture phenomenon. I always say that wrong.
Phenomenon.
Phenomenon. Yeah, the biggest pop culture phenomenon to strike us in the past couple of months, and I would have to say that is House of the Dragon. House of Dragon? House of the Dragons.
House
I don't
of
know.
the Dragon.
House of the
House
Dragon.
of D's Dragon.
It's got some D's. But yeah, so we won't spoil anything today. Maybe we'll do like a sort of like discussion after the series has finished. But what are your first impressions, Jerry?
I like it. One thing that I really like, which I don't know if this might seem more normal to you or not, but the dialogue in the show, it's kind of returned more back into the Game of Thrones, so like the original series.
Back
Like
in
the last season,
the OG series, like.
yeah, like the last seasons, they were just kind of talking more modern, and the dialogue wasn't as crazy. I don't know if you get what I'm saying.
I know what you mean. Yeah, I can see that a little bit. The Right, obviously we gotta be very careful not to like spoil things. But what are you thinking of the current king, King Viserys? Is that his name? I
Yeah.
think.
Kind of. I think what the show wants you to think of him, he's okay. You
A
know,
little bit.
he's not. He's not bad. He's not good. He's whatever. But I think that's that they're trying to picture him as a little pushover kind of.
I'm still struggling to see him as anyone else but as the guy from Hot Fuzz. I'm not sure if you've seen that film.
Who
Because
was he in Hot Fuzz?
he's one of the two Andys. If you remember those two.
One of the okay.
They're
Yeah, I
like,
don't remember. I know who I know the characters you're talking about, but I can't picture his face in there. They got the mustache, right?
yeah, it's one of those ones. So the other one, I can't remember his name, but like, I'm gonna try and find him for you now. But I always just associate him with being in that film. But I'm quite impressed with him in this at the moment.
Yeah.
Uh, Here
Oh,
we
I
go.
like all the actors in this. I think all the actors are doing a great job.
Oh yeah, definitely. But it's cool to see him in this. It's probably one of the biggest roles I've seen him in. But yeah, there's people that are kind of rinsing him on Twitter for making some poor decisions. But I think some of the like decisions he's made in the show have been quite crucial or like well thought out. So I'm not quite sure where that's
Yeah.
coming from. It might pop up on the screen now. The character I'm referring to. Uh,
Okay.
so
Huh.
he was that guy in Hoffers.
Yeah, that's crazy.
But yeah, I'm quite liking it at the moment. I like Risa fans. I gotta say that as well because he's a fellow Welshman as well, so I gotta like throw that out there just to say. But I am liking the way it's going so far, and the biggest thing that I'm really enjoying, and it sounds really horrible. I got into Game of Thrones quite late, if I'm being totally honest.
Yeah.
So I kind of missed the initial. The biggest thing with Game of Thrones was there was like this event on a Sunday. So Sunday night comes, you're like, right, it's Game of Thrones night. Shit's going down, basically. So I missed out on that initial buzz, and I miss it out a bit more being in the UK because I have to watch it on a Monday evening. So I'm not quite getting
Okay.
the live experience, but I'm still more involved in that event type atmosphere if that comes across the right way. But you don't get that with many shows nowadays. Maybe some of the Marvel ones, but
Yeah.
like definitely not something like Stranger Things. I think once that's out, the buzz is kind of gone because it's the whole series. You don't. It's not a weekly
Yeah.
thing. But
Buzz
that's
is on for a week and then it's over when it comes to Stranger Things.
exactly. But then when you look at like Game of Thrones now, it's probably going to be like like 10 weeks. Was that what they used to do? Like 10
Yeah.
episodes.
10
That's,
episodes. So it might be 8 to 10, who knows, but well, I'm sure a lot of people know. But yeah, I agree with you on that. It's pretty nice. I remember Sundays I'd watch football, and then after watching football all day, American football, then I'd watch. They'd either have Silicon Valley on, or they'd have I think like Eastbound and Down. They used to have like a comedy show, Ballers, and then they'd have Game of Thrones. So it was a really good lineup for me all day,
oh yeah.
and yeah, and then to cap it off with the Game of Thrones is always a nice touch.
Hmm.
So I'm happy at that. It's funny because I told my cousin, I was like, I don't know if a lot of people are going to be watching this show just because of the way that Game of Thrones kind of ended. I
I
feel
think
like
that's
a
probably
lot of them.
their biggest hurdle. I think is just because of the way they close things out. But I have a bit more faith in House of the Dragon because it's a completed series of books, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah,
So
it's
that was one of the issues with Game of Thrones was that the books weren't finished, so they had to take some liberties when they ended the show.
terrible creative
Um,
liberties.
Slightly, but
Yeah.
at least then, because this series is it's a complete like series of books. The ending is out there. I don't know what it is, but I know the ending is there. But
And then I'd say there was 10.2 million viewers on this last episode.
it was something like
So
a I can't remember. I don't know what the exact percentage is, but it's not normal for a series to see an uplift after the first episode, especially for the
yeah,
numbers that they had for the first episode, which was like so it was 10 million for episode
yeah,
1 and then 10.2 for episode 2 just
reps.
gone. Is that it?
Yeah, and they broke the record I think for the most watched HBO show on the app, like on the first day.
That's
So
that's crazy.
yeah, yeah, it's insane.
But like when I think
It's
I get
back.
back when Game of Thrones was first like sort of like taking the world by storm. This probably might be in thanks to like Lord of the Rings, but like for a fantasy show to be that huge is insane.
Oh yeah.
But like and especially now we got this Lord of the Rings series coming out next week. I believe, yeah, no, it's end of this week actually.
Friday.
Friday, so there's gonna be some hefty fantasy competition, I think, going on.
Oh yeah. Sick lineup. Sick lineup. We got some PC Jack. We got some top 3 entertainment, and then you can top it off with some Lord of the Rings.
Exactly.
I hope it's really good. I'm looking forward to it.
I'm excited for it. What do you think of the original films? You a fan?
Yeah, I like the original ones. I mean, I watched them when I was younger, and they're pretty good. I even watched The Hobbit, that little trilogy, and it was okay.
We don't talk about The Hobbit. we just think about Lord of the Rings. That's the most important thing.
Yeah, they weren't as bad as people make them out to say, but
well, it's the main thing with the fact that Lord of the Rings was 3 books adapted into 3 films, and The Hobbit was 1 book adapted into 3 films. So they might have been stretching things a little bit thin, but like I don't know, Lord of the Rings has kind of a special place in my heart, and I tend to watch it at least like the whole series once a year. I would say they're probably one of my favorite films. Well, a few of my favorite films, I would say. So I'm hoping the series will live up to the hype. I have heard good things. So
nice. I haven't seen the reviews. I'm just going in blind.
I haven't read any reviews. I've just heard people have said that it is good. I haven't heard anything else besides that. So I've got high hopes at the moment. So us nerds are going to be eating good as well with like She-Hulk and also with Andor starting tomorrow as well. So we're getting all the pop culture in as little time as possible. It's great. But yeah, so we'll make sure to revisit it when the series ends, because obviously we don't want to spoil things for you guys if you haven't seen anything yet. And we'll revisit it in a couple of weeks, and we'll give our uncensored thoughts on the series as a whole and take it from there. But for now, though, I've got something I really want to talk about. So should we get into the first topic for today, Jerry?
I believe we should.
Let's do it. So, if any of you have seen the title of today's stream, they'll be well aware that AMD is having a very good day, because AMD Ryzen 7000 Zen 4 desktop CPUs have been detailed, and they've actually provided quite a lot of information in the past 24 hours. I believe, well, for us in the UK, it was like midnight, so I didn't catch the stream then, but this would have been like last night for you, Jerry, if I'm not mistaken.
5 o'clock.
About 5 o'clock, that's it. So, yeah, if you weren't aware, here we go from the article on here. At a press and analyst event in Austin, Texas, AMD unsealed its plans for its much-anticipated Ryzen 7000 desktop CPU lineup, codenamed Raphael. First tipped at CES 2022, the Ryzen 7000 series will be the first set of consumer chips to employ the new Zen 4 microarchitecture with leading-edge process technology. The first chips in the new line will target power users and gamers. So I won't read through like the whole article, but the gist is that we now have official confirmation of when these CPUs are arriving, which is the 27th of September. So only less than a month ago now, and they've given us some juicy bits of information in terms of performance and pricing. So before we move any further, let's take a look at the actual pricing for these CPUs. So if we start with the highest end on here, we've got the Ryzen 9 7950X, which is coming in at $700. And then we've got the 12-core 7900X coming in at $549. And then we go down to the 8-core 7700X coming in at $400. And then finally, we've got the 6-core 7600X coming in at $300. So, before we continue any further, what are your sort of thoughts so far, just looking at pricing itself at the moment, Jerry?
I think it's pretty good. This is the pricing that we had for this last gen of CPUs. So the way I see it, if you don't like the pricing on these, you can always just get the 5000 series for a lot cheaper. I don't know if that's
now
a popular
the only one
opinion.
I think has actually changed, but it's actually reduced in price, is the 16-core SKU, because I think the 5950X was actually $800 when it came out. So that's gone down, but I think the rest is roughly where it was before. Especially the 7600X compared to the 5600X. They're basically bang on the same price what they were when they came out. So I think the one that's been the most glaring for a lot of people has been the 7600X. $300 for a 6-core CPU still seems a little rough in my mind. But like, we have seen the 5600X decrease quite a lot by now. What can you get a 5600X for nowadays? I'm just going to call him out in the chat because I've just seen him pop up. So, TechLab UK. Oi oi. Or oui oui if we're in France.
What up, mate?
Welcome to the stream. I believe you've got a 5600X fairly recently. Am I correct? If you have, what did you pay for it? This would be going off of UK pricing. I want to say they're going for around maybe 200 or less at the moment. Something like that, I would think. But either way, I'm still a bit divided on how I feel about the pricing for the 7600X. Do you think that seems roughly what you would expect for that SKU?
I feel like we got spoiled with the 3600X being $200 at launch. So
why have I not got your audio, Jerry?
I'm not too sure. What's going on here?
What's going on?
I don't feel like anything's changed. Can the stream hear me? I don't know if it's just your headset or if it's
You guys have to excuse us. We're still breaking in the setup a little bit.
Yeah, if you guys can hear me, let me know. Say top 3 in the chat if you can hear me. And if you can't hear me, then don't say anything in the chat.
What's going on, Jerry? We're not hearing you. You talking now?
No. Yeah, I keep talking, bro. Damn.
Right, how about now, Jerry? Can we hear you?
Can you guys hear me or no? It looks like I'm talking.
No.
No?
No, you're back.
I guess I'm at...
What's going on with the audio? I don't know what's happening there. We're back
I'm not
now.
too sure.
It's a bit strange. I'm not quite sure why I cut it out, but I think we're back now. It's okay. TechLab said we can hear us, so it's fine anyway. So we're back. Yeah. So TechLab just clarified on here. Yeah, so he said he got his 5600X for £180. So that's about where I'm thinking now. So it has gone down in price after the fact. But so yeah. So what was it you were saying about the 7600X? Sorry, we lost you a bit there.
I think they heard me, but I was saying we got spoiled with 3600X being $200 at launch, or like $200-ish, whatever it was, 210.
Right.
So we got used to that 6-core for that price. But for right now, the 5600X is 200, 220, depending if it's on sale or not, which isn't too bad, which is what you want at launch. So
that's it.
I remember I sold my 3600X for $200 when the new 5000 series came out, so I got my money back, and I just used that towards the new chip.
That's pretty good going then. That's all right. So if we take a little look at the other ones, so I feel like the 7700X is a little better based on that. But which one of these is the one you'd be the most interested in, if that makes sense?
I do notice they all say they're 5 nanometer, right? The chip size.
Yes, they're all 5 nanometer, these ones. So, sorry, before we carry on, let's take a little look at the actual specs a little bit closer on here. So we can see on here, so if we started with the 7950X, so a bit more detail. So obviously it's a 16-core, 32-thread CPU with a base clock of 4.5 gigahertz and a maximum boost clock of 5.7 gigahertz. And it's got 80 megabytes of L3 cache. That's L3 and L2, maybe there. 170 watt TDP, and yeah, like I said, it's on a 5 nanometer process. Interestingly, all of these CPUs come with onboard graphics. If that's useful to you, it obviously can be dependent on your actual use case.
Oh yeah.
But yeah, for me, I'm gonna go out on a limb and say that the one that's tickling my fancy the most is the 7900X. I think that going from a 3900 XT to that is going to be a pretty big upgrade, I would say, especially for the kind of use case I would have for it, so mostly as a workstation CPU. There is other reasons for the actual upgrade, though. So what I will do, before we continue on, I'm going to put a little poll in the chat just to see how people are feeling as well. Just to see whether they are interested in upgrading to Ryzen 7000 series. So you guys feel free to get in on the poll if you feel like it. But if we take a little look closer at some of these now, we had some performance numbers on here as well. So they have said on here we're looking at a roughly 13% IPC uplift compared to Zen 3, which is about where it was reported. What else we got on here? So, of course, you got to bear in mind when it says up to 5.7 gigahertz max frequency. That's not all core. That is obviously going off of that could be single threaded as well. It depends what it is. But it does say up to a 29% total single threaded performance gain, that's a pretty big performance generation over generation. I don't think it was as high as that for 5000 series, if I'm not mistaken. But we can take a look on here, and they haven't pulled their punches. They've made sure to quickly identify the 12900K as performing lesser than the 7600X when it comes to Geekbench for single threaded performance. So it's pretty interesting looking so far. What would you be thinking about when we got Raptor Lake very fast approaching, which is going to be in the next, it might be like about a month after 5000 series?
Yeah, I'm curious to see how that performs as well. I'm assuming that's going to get a significant jump as well. We won't know till we see it, but I do like how they're trying to clown on the 12900K. But as we all know, take all this information with a grain of salt. Just because it performs like this on Geekbench doesn't mean that the 12900K isn't better than other stuff.
I have to say, with their press conferences, AMD has been fairly reliable most of the time when it comes to their numbers. We haven't tended to exaggerate too much, which is always good news. Well, one of the other things I thought was quite good. This I don't know how it'll appear. It's a bit small on my screen anyway, but there's this Zen 4 IPC uplift for desktop, just showing some of the differences. So this one's looking might look a bit small on the stream, but I'll include a link for it after the show. But it's just showing the actual IPC improvements in certain titles. So as an example, there's ones on here for Adobe Premiere. There's an 11% IPC increase. Before we clarify though, so it says this is at 4 gigahertz locked on 8 cores and 16 threads. Just to clarify, that is the way you would obviously test for IPC anyway, just to make sure you're looking at the same clock speed on each SKU on past gen and current gen to compare the IPC. Just as a quick summary. But yeah, so 11% increase over Zen 3 with the with Adobe Premiere Pro, 12% for Shadow of the Tomb Raider. What some other ones are quite interesting? 17% for Assassin's Creed Valhalla, and up to 24% for Watch Dogs Legion. And what's this final one? It's a bit small on my screen. So those are non-gaming tasks as well there. But I'll make sure to include those linked in the video description as well if people are interested to have a look. But in terms of IPC, we're definitely looking like a substantial increase. But the one that I'm going to be really interested in is power consumption. Now, they are promising this, they're looking on here, it's about 170 watt TDP for their max SKUs. Now, that doesn't roughly equate to exactly 170 watts under load. But it does mean that we are seeing an increased TDP over past gen, which could result in some higher temperatures to having to be contend with as well. So, thankfully, you don't need to upgrade your cooler. If you've got a cooler already, you can use it from AM4 to AM5, which is really good. But whether they maintain efficiency is the most important thing, I think. Obviously, of course, as well as performance. But that has been one of the benefits that Ryzen has always had over Intel for quite some time. So I'd be interested to see if that does actually remain the case, if that makes sense.
Yeah, so I think that's great that it's using the same socket for the cooler. That way, you can still get really good deals on some of these AIOs. Because what is it with the 1200K? They had to get a new. I think they upgraded it for free. I don't know if it was on launch, but fairly after too as well.
The whole LGA 1700 upgrade thing, I've been a bit divided on as well. Because I thought it was great that a lot of these people were offering free upgrades so you can get the mounted brackets sent out. But it was so it's very hit and miss depending what brands you went to. But Noctua were really forthcoming with their upgrade kits. They sent out a couple for the coolers they've sent out before. So I had all the mounting hardware I need for my older system. I had some from Be Quiet as well. They only sent me for one of my coolers. They didn't send it for an AIO they sent me before. But either way, they were better. But I know Corsair have been a bit lackluster, like depending like what hardware you have. But it is cool, like I said. I think that's really cool that they are bringing that support over from AM4 to AM5, especially for the fact that it's less e-waste, which is obviously extremely important. And to be able to reuse your cooler is great for the environment, and also it's great for saving money, which is always a plus. But so yeah, sorry Jay, I'd step in on you just then just to clarify that.
No, that's fine. That's perfect. And then two, they're changing from what PGA to LGA type of CPU.
That's
So
it,
the
yeah. So
pins are
they're
going to
going
be on
to
the motherboard.
so there's going to be a 17, 18 pin LGA socket. So compared to LGA 1700, that's an additional 18 pins, just in case you're curious.
And then so that helps it get, that's where it gets a lot of its performance as well. They're able to put more on the chip. So I'm actually very interested to see how this and the 1300 series do. They're coming out pretty soon. I guess the most important thing is going to be price and power consumption, right? And we
Yeah, well,
know
that's what remains to be
we
seen with Intel.
so I'm not going to say exactly yet which one I'm going to choose, but I'm also going to say I might wait for both of them to lower down in price before I get one, even though I would like to get one day one.
That's fair. I still think
And
we need to be wary of a new platform like this. So like I said, I'm potentially eyeing up the 7900X, but not immediately. That probably wouldn't be until maybe November, something like that. So that's about 2 months just to like see how reviews fare, and also how BIOS stability is, just over the first couple of weeks. But we'll have to wait and see. But if Raptor Lake does come out in October, that could make things a little bit more interesting. But the main thing that I get really excited about is the fact that we're actually getting some good competition in the CPU space, which has been lacking for a while. But if we get this constant back and forth between Intel and AMD, the people who win is going to be us. And it's something we've been
yes, sir.
lacking, even more so in the GPU space nowadays. Well, nowadays, the last 2 years, basically. But it's good to see that we're getting this on the CPU side, which is very exciting. So I've got my fingers crossed. The biggest concern I have at the moment, and I think a lot of people have this as well, is DDR5 pricing, which is still, it's on its way down, but it's still a little bit higher than we would like. Now, I did have a little look the other day at a 16 gigabyte, no, not 16 gigabyte, a 32 gigabyte kit, 5200 speed DDR5, and that was about £180, which is still not quite as accessible as people would like compared to like DDR4. But I'm hoping maybe
What
by
team
then.
group?
It was a kit of Corsair Vengeance memory that was.
Okay.
But then once you scale up to like either like a 64 gig kit or higher speed, like what was the other one? It was a 5600 speed. It may have been. I might be misremember. I can't remember. But that was the price crept up extremely quick. So it was past £300 then, which to me is still a little bit too high for memory. But
And
sorry, go on.
as I say, speaking of the DDR5 too, AMD is going to roll out with the Expo, which is their version of XMP.
Yes, that's why I'm quite interested to test out as well. I always mistake it and say like I always call it XMP regardless of the platform I'm on, which is very a very poor like decision to do, but it's just kind of I'm used to saying it. So really I should be saying DOCP if we're talking about AMD, but like
Yeah.
we use the two interchangeably. But to have this new memory standard they're referring to as Expo could make things a little bit more interesting as well. Now, the other thing as well with DDR5 is the fact that there's how did they describe it? So obviously there's changes with DDR5 anyway, with the fact that there's changes to the actual power delivery on the memory itself. And then there's also been some sort of changes in the way that like the memory profiles are saved like internally. I might be butchering the description of that, but that's something I'd be interested to test out myself as well. But how is the chat feeling about 7000 series at the moment? So we got Voluntarism saying that he's looking at either go for the 7950X or the i9 13900K. You are going to be in for a fairly hefty performance increase going. Well, we need to know what you're going from in the first place, but I think going for either of those two is going to be a pretty good investment. Now, depending on how benchmarks go when we get to both AMD's release as well as Intel's, that's going to be pretty exciting to check out. And Tech Lab as well.
Start saving some money too.
Exactly, you got to get those pennies saved.
Yeah, it's gonna be expensive.
I know that's we're talking about this stuff in the middle of like a cost of living crisis, but one can dream. It's fine. And Tech Lab said, so we may wait until Intel 13th gen release and compare the two, then price the performance. Okay, so that'd be interesting to see. So I think we are going to have to contemplate which way we're swinging at the moment, and hopefully we'll be seeing some pretty interesting competition, which is my favorite thing when it comes to these CPUs. So here we go. Voluntarism just clarified now. He's upgrading from an 8700K. You are going to be in for a pretty big performance increase. So 8700K, great CPU, but like going to a 16-core 7950X from that is going to be a pretty hefty increase in clock speeds, IPC, and just gen over gen improvements in terms of, as well as core count as well, which is going to be a massive factor. What are we looking for the 13900K? I haven't been keeping up too much of it. Is it going to be the same as the 12900K with 16 cores? I can't
remember E cores.
So it's 12 P cores and 4 E cores? Or am I butchering that?
I'm not too sure. Yeah, I'm not too sure what it's going to be.
I have to take a look at that.
I don't like looking at leaks too much because, I mean, I saw some leaks for the AMD series, and the ones that I saw that was right was the pricing. Someone guessed the pricing right, and good for them.
Well, I won't look at it quite yet then. We'll leave it at that for now. But while we're in the chat as well, let's take a look at the results from the poll on here now. So what we got? Okay, so it's pretty clear on here that people are very excited about Ryzen 7000 series. We've got 75% said yes because they want to upgrade, and 25% said no. So it's interesting to see the way that people are like looking at the moment when it comes to it. Tech Lab, when we say waiting, it'll be for the main rig. Obviously, we'll grab something for the channel/studio before then. Need to know more about motherboards. That's what I'm very excited to check out. I really want to like have a look at either. I'm torn on whether I go for X670 or for B650. One of the biggest things, I know those like the improvements that I'm talking about when it comes to like using a 7900X in terms of like for workstation CPU for rendering and stuff like that. The one thing I am severely lacking is additional connectivity on B450 because I'm still on B450 on my 3900 XT. So I don't have many options when it comes to additional M.2 storage, even past PCIe Gen 3, and I'm running out of space. I need more PCIe bandwidth as well in order to actually accommodate what I'm trying to do with it. And B450 has limited me a little bit, so that's one of the ones I'm really excited about when it comes to the actual motherboard support we're going to be getting on AM5. Have you thought about whether you'd go either X670 or even B650 or the E variants, you know, the extreme motherboards?
I'll probably get an X670, the non-E. I was looking at them too. They did say they were going to start at 125, and I think asked Tech Lab if they knew some of the specs. We were talking about it on Twitter a little bit. But I am curious to see what features are going to be missing on those cards or those motherboards. Because I am building a PC for helping my cousin build a PC. We just got the X570, but I'm going to check to see if I hold on to it and build with that or spend a little extra money and upgrade to the next gen, which might or might not be the case. So we will see. If the motherboards are too expensive, then I'll just stick with this. But if they have a pretty good one for $125 to $200 motherboard, I'll probably go with that.
Now, for an X670 board, you wouldn't be able to they wouldn't be able to sell something that wouldn't support any of those CPUs. Like, just to put it out there. The things that are going to be the most limiting, I would guess, is going to be the actual VRM design for a $125 X670 motherboard. You might be seeing some corners cut when it came to connectivity. So maybe like less PCIe Gen 4 support, or Gen 5 support rather now. I'd be interested to see, but I feel like $125 for a X670 board is probably a bit limited. But
Yeah, I believe so too. No RGB. No
shame.
no no fan for the the little chipsets. Yeah, we will see what it'd be missing. Maybe have one NVMe slot, maybe one PCIe slot. Um See, I don't know, see what they had. I think what was it? Tech Lab said that maybe it won't have as much DDR5 slots. So we will see. But like I said, I got like 30 days to hold on to that. We got it for 130, so I feel like that's a
That's a
steal.
pretty good price for X570.
Yeah, especially for the Gigabyte Aorus. So
That's
we
pretty
shall
good
see.
going.
Oh, and then the other thing too about DDR5 that I'm not too sure about right now is the timing on the clocks or the frequencies are pretty high. And compared to DDR4, it did take a while for those to go down as well. So we shall see.
But then for memory
But
as well, you need to be looking at the cast latencies because they're like we looked at the other when a stream a couple of weeks ago. It's very high, which is not a good thing for cast
yeah,
latency. But we'll have to wait and see. The one thing I was curious what you would think of is the fact that I think it's on X670, but Asus have omitted the use of a HD audio port, onboard
huh.
audio rather. Which how do you feel about that? Because me personally, I do not care whatsoever about front panel audio, so I don't care if they remove it or not. And they did that
Honestly,
that was on a mini ITX board as well. Sorry, just to clarify.
no, that's fine. I wouldn't care too much, except for the fact that Asus is going to charge an arm and a leg for the motherboards. So since you're paying so much, I would want it on there because Asus charges a lot. So if you're gonna be paying a premium price, you better have premium options on there.
I think
So
for that one, it's more so because ITX is very limited in space. So if you can cut
yeah,
corners there, then that's fine. Uh,
I understand.
that makes sense because they've on. I know this from my B550 ROG Strix board. Uh, they've actually built like sort of upwards. So where the M.2 connector is, it's on a separate what's it called? I can't think the right way to describe it, but basically it's built up off the board to actually save space. So they do things like that, I would guess. Just catching up on the chat now. So Tech Lab's saying as well, features will be key. That is going to be the most crucial thing for us anyway. But he's saying he's looking at maybe getting a high-end ATX and ITX for the channel. So we need to see what's there and pricing. That's the next thing I'm waiting for now is pricing on both X670 and B650. The extreme variants I don't really have too much of a concern for. The benefits they have over them is probably a bit negligible for my use case, I would guess. But we'll soon see. We still need to see a bit more information on that. I'll definitely be checking out Buildzoids for like some in-depth testing of these mobiles. I'm also like the actual overviews of them. And I want to do my own overview of them as well. So I'd be very excited to check them out. Voluntarism. I'm building a whole new computer and I'm also waiting for the RTX 4090 to launch as well. Whew. Either a 7950X system or 3900K system with a RTX 4090. I don't want to see your energy bill.
Yeah.
That's going to be high. But that sounds like it'll be an absolutely beast of the system. If I'm going to do it a little plug. I know we don't normally do it like in the middle of the show, but like if you want to join either the PC Jack or Top 3 Entertainment Discord, please do, because we'd like to see that system when it's put together. There's PC Build channels on both of those Discords, so if you fancy sharing those with us, feel free to do so, because we'd love to see how the system turns out. So you're doing this system for Piece of Us vlogs, is it?
Yeah. He has a PS5 currently. That's what he games on. So it's gonna be, like you said, it's gonna be his first PC.
Oh, nice. That's a pretty good way to go. At least he's got the PS5 to keep him going for the time being. That's quite good.
Yeah. The first part that he got was a gaming monitor. I was like, you might as well just get the monitor now, since you can push your PS5 on that, and you're gonna need one anyways.
Oh yeah.
So just
what monitors you
enjoy
got
that.
at the moment?
Samsung Odyssey G5.
Ooh, nice. That's good.
Yeah. 27-inch, 1440p HDR. What is it, 1000 or something like that.
That sounds good. So that'll pair off very well with the system itself. Voluntarism just brought up a very important question on here, saying, when do you think we'll see 3D Vcache on the 7000 series CPUs? Now, if I'm talking off the top of my head, I'm sure I've seen reports from Moore's Law is Dead that they're aiming for maybe around March to April for that. I could be wrong. I'd have to take a look at that. I'll probably revisit that in another stream,
Mm.
just because I think we've spent an awful long time looking at Ryzen so far. But we will revisit that when we have a bit more information on it. I don't want to give too much for now without doing a bit more research myself. But I haven't seen the exact sort of dates we're looking at for 3D V-Cache on these at the moment. But I would be interested
When
to see
sales
how...
go down.
Yeah, when sales go down, that's probably going to be where it
That's
is.
gonna be-
I'd be interested to see how the 5800X 3D fares in terms of pricing when 7000 series comes out. Because how much can you get a 5800X 3D for the moment? I'd be curious about
like
that.
400.
So if you can get
And
a
so you-
5800X 3D for that price, would you go for a 7700X depending on the actual performance difference? And obviously it depends if you have a motherboard already as well. So I'm looking on Amazon, you can get one for £422 in the UK. And that's reduced from £529. I'm sure it wasn't that before. Maybe that's on Amazon though. I could be looking at a dodgy listing. Let's have a look on Scan. That's probably a better indication of it. Okay, so that's about there. So £439 in the UK for a 5800X 3D and Scan UK. So that sounds about where it is for yourself in the US. Am I
Yeah,
right?
so it's around that price.
Oh, okay. So it depends if you got that motherboard or not. But I feel like the reception for the 5800X 3D was very good in terms of gaming performance, but pretty lackluster when it came to workstation tasks. So maybe they're waiting for the gaming crowd to come out and get all hands in on 3D V-Cache and take it from there. But like Jerry said, it's when they need to sell more CPUs. Or when sales decline, rather, then maybe we'll be looking at some more sales. And also, I'd be interested to see how they scale back 7000 series towards the low end, so like the 7600, and maybe some quad cores like a 7100. That could be interesting to take a look at when that does come around. But I feel like we wait a long time for low end 5000 series CPUs. It was over a year, I think, before we saw the 5100 or the 5600.
Yeah, it was a while.
It did take a fair bit of time, and I think that may have been a bit of a limiting factor due to supply and obviously the semiconductor shortage. Could be that, but I'd be interested to see how they do for that. But I'm just catching up with voluntarism now. So he said, when do you think we'll see? Oh no, I missed that one. So, Twanners, can't wait to see it finished. Are we talking about voluntarism's PC or are we talking about PC versus PC? We want to see everyone's PCs. That's the thing. We're gonna have to do a Pimp My PC segment on the show, like they did on Awesome Hardware. So we'll have to do that. Maybe like a setup stream. That'd be good to do. That's what I was looking at. So voluntarism, more cache or more cores for gaming. So it will depend. If you are more CPU bound when it comes to gaming, so it'd be more so for lower resolutions at 1080p. Where your CPU is getting more taxed compared to your GPU will still be getting taxed at 1080p, but it depends what you're doing. So if we go off of, let's just use CS:GO as an example. You can obviously drive up the FPS on that even more with a better single-threaded performance on a CPU, which is obviously why a lot of CPU tests are run at 1080p. So Vcache is useful in those instances. For cores, there's a point of let me return, what's the word I'm thinking of? I can't think of the word. The phrase I'm thinking of is just completely escaped my mind. But you might not necessarily see a massive increase just because you've got more cores. It does depend. It also, if I remember how it was for the 5900X and 5950X, the difference going from 12 cores to 16 cores was extremely negligible. And sometimes that increased latency due to the higher core count could actually reduce performance compared to using a 12-core CPU. So it depends. But you need to look at what games you play, and you can sort of gauge it off of that. But more cache, L3 cache, is useful for 1080p gaming. DJ Bird Noise. Hey, love the stream, liked and subbed. Well, thank you very much. I'm glad you're enjoying the stream, and I hope you're going to stick around for some more streams in the next couple of weeks and videos. And if you haven't yet, also make sure to head over to Jerry's channel, Top 3 Entertainment, and show him some love over there as well with a sub. He's very close to 500 subs, so we're getting him there slowly but surely. It's going to happen very soon. TechLab, AMD's release schedule on the lower end was super annoying. I agree with you completely. This is why again, there was limits because of the actual the market itself, but I also think like they could have done it sooner. But maybe it'll be different this time. Who knows? Yeah, I don't really have too much more to add on to Ryzen 7000 series at the moment. Is there anything you want to close that out with, Jerry?
Yeah, so a lot of you might know because it seemed like you guys not only buy a lot of PC parts and test out PC parts, but if you want to get the CPUs day one, you got to be quick. They're gonna sell out quickly. But the good thing is with CPUs, they restock pretty fast. So if you miss out on day one, definitely by the time Intel comes out, they'll probably restock. But you might have to wait a month or two to be able to get anything that's available, or they'll randomly pop up saying that they're in stock. So don't feel too discouraged if you don't get it day one. But if you are trying to get it day one, you're gonna kind of have to be on the ball because they're gonna sell out quickly. And these are harder to flip compared to GPUs, so they'll be easier to get back in stock.
Definitely. And I'll also point out, if any of you are first-time buyers for these new lineup of CPUs, try and buy everything around the same time. I know you might want to spread that out a little bit, like, oh, get the motherboard first, give it a month, get a CPU, then get memory. Please aim to get them around the same time, because at least with those parts, you need to be able to test them all together to make sure they work. If you bought a motherboard like 2 months before your CPU, and something's not working on your motherboard, you're going to be a bit screwed when it comes to returns. For other parts, I wouldn't be too concerned, but for CPU, motherboard, and RAM, I would try and get those at the same time so you can test them all together. But, yeah, just a random bit of advice on there. Voluntarism. Do you think I should wait for 3.0 power supplies for the 4090? What do you mean by 3.0 power supplies? Or am I misinterpreting that?
I think they're making new PSUs for the new gen of NVIDIA cards because of how much power they're going to be using.
Are you referring to the one that's using like 12 volt standard? Is it those ones? I'm not 100% sure. I think you can still get away with getting like a decent power supply nowadays. If you went for something very hard to recommend unless we see like actual power draw numbers. But
yeah,
I feel like 850 watts has become like the normal recommendation nowadays.
yeah.
ATX 3.0. That's what he's talking about. ATX 3.0.
Yeah.
Sorry, I was completely misinterpreting what he was saying. Can you run a 3090 Ti on an 850 watt power supply, or do they spec it for higher than that? I know I might be cutting it a bit close. Or am I incorrect?
The 3090 Ti, well, at least the Founders Edition was able to run out at 850 because that's what I was running it on. No problem. But these new cards are going to be more power hungry, so 1,000 watt might be the new minimum. I'm not too sure. That's what I'm currently trying to figure out right now with this build too, because I was like, well, we could buy the PSU first on sale, but I was like, I don't know exactly what to get it because we were going to get the 6900 XT, but I was like, if the 4080 is like the same price and its performance is way better, but then I got to get a stronger PS, you know? I was like, I don't know what to do. So it's kind of hard for us to recommend what type of PSU to get, whether to get that new 3.0 series. Just you're gonna have to wait a little bit longer just to see what they recommend because they know what they're doing and we have no idea what's going on with new GPUs.
I think we should have a better idea fairly soon once we get some more details on 40 series. But like you've said in the chat now, you're aiming for a 1300 watt PSU. I think if you've got the budget to go for a 4090 and the flagship CPU of either Intel or AMD, maybe overspec a little bit on your PSU and you should probably be fine. But you should work from there. Or either you can just do what TechLab said and just get the NVIDIA nuclear PSUs that are coming soon. You never know. So just have to see how it goes. But either way, I think we got some very exciting releases on the way. And I can't wait to check it out once we get some reviews in and some third-party results in terms of benchmarks. And us CPU consumers are going to be eating very good. Don't you think, Jerry?
Oh yeah. It's gonna be eating a lot of power. Let's go.
Yeah, so we're not going to worry about the energy on that. That's fine. Before we get on to the next topic, I've just noticed a funny thing that I thought I activated Windows on my stream and capture setup, but I didn't. So I got that little watermark in the bottom, which is
the little pirate mark.
Yeah, what a shame. I'll just I'll leave that there. It's not doing any harm. Um, yeah, let's move on to our next topic for this evening then. I'd be really interested to know what you think of this, Jerry. But we from last week we saw that Corsair have partnered with LG to create the world's first flexible monitor. Now, I'm a bit divided on this monitor. I can understand how it's pretty cool to have a monitor that you could actually bend at will if you wanted. Not at will. It makes it sound like you're like telekinetic or something, but like, so the twist of the monitor is you can actually bend it to become a curved monitor, or you can straighten it out to become a flat monitor. Uh, so it depends like what you want to use it for. But what did you think about this, Jerry? Have you seen this monitor?
The bendable one, I did not. I was interested, and then I was like, I probably can't afford it, so I'm not even gonna watch it. But I'll
Yeah.
watch it with the chat.
But like, I feel like you would bend it once into whatever position you wanted and be like, right, that's good, and then just never touch it again. Maybe that's just me, but I wasn't. I wouldn't be that interested in it, to be honest. But like, it's
I,
cool because I've never seen anything like it before.
yeah,
But
I say I think it's good for gamers that have like anger problems, that punch their screen or punch the wall. You know, if get the bendable TV, so if you punch your TV, it'll push it back. Maybe it'll
oh
have
yeah,
less chance of breaking.
it's fun. I was curious to know how you know how far it goes, but there is apparently an audible click when it's bent as far
uh,
as it can, so that's helpful. This is a prototype that they are showing off at the moment, though, so it could get better like down the line. But for me, I'm
you can't
not
tell
that
me.
keen. Like to be honest,
You can't tell me you won't be making it go in a wave or trying to when you first get your hands on it.
maybe not so far. But like the weird thing is, you could bend one side of it and have the other side flat, which is really weird looking. But like
Yeah.
I don't know. I feel this is one of the most niche monitors I've ever seen. But I'm just amazed because this is the first time I've ever seen anything like it, which is pretty interesting. But like
Yeah.
so I just feel like you would set up once, and then you'd probably like never touch it again. But
I'll
like
probably be scared to see how far it can bend. You know how you said it makes a little
oh
pop or a
click,
little noise?
yeah.
Yeah, I'm like, was that a crack or was that the click?
So did I just break the
Like, did I
monitor? I
push
don't
that
know.
too far? Yeah. Anyway,
Volunteerism
at least
saying, so go on.
say at least if you're split screening vertically, you can bend it in the middle too. That way you guys can look at each other's screen.
That would be good.
Help you cheat.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I could get on board with that. Volunteerism just said on here that you probably end up breaking it after bending it back and forth too many times. That is a thing I'd be very concerned about. Like I know with one of the things I've seen with, well, not myself, but I've heard like reports on like people using uh, bendable phones. So you got like I don't know which brands in particular have them, but there is issues like
Samsung Fold.
that's one of them. So there is issues where like the crease in the phone becomes a lot more prominent, and I have seen things where the actual screen protector for it has come off, and that is quite an issue for those kinds of phones. So would that issue translate across to a bendable screen as well? I would guess it could. It's not quite as much of as a fold compared to the monitor. The monitor is like fairly like flat when you compare it to a phone being bent like that. I would think, but I don't know. That's just one of the things I was thinking about. But Tech Lab, it's a fad thing, really. Very few will have them, but it's all great for innovation. Well, exactly. That's the main thing we do like to see when it comes to these types of products. But no price on it yet, though, which is a bit more concerning, I would say. Um, I
How
don't.
will it handle shipping wise?
They'll
If people
fold it
throw
up.
it around,
They'll fold it up and put it in your mailbox.
yeah,
Like,
exactly.
good to go.
Or when you open it up, is it just gonna be all lumpy just from it being bumped around so much?
Yeah, it should be like that. It's not quite the same thing, but I saw someone put up like it was like an Instagram reel. Said they were waiting for their vinyl record delivery. So they had a picture of their face looking very sad, and then it came to their mailbox, and their parcel was just like folded in half. I was like, oh no, that's not gonna work.
They only get half the album. That's messed up.
It's a shame. You gotta like keep like putting it back when you put it on the record player. But yeah, bit of a funny product. I thought I'd show up on the stream. Whether it's any good when it comes out remains to be seen. But like, I'd rather just go for either curved or flat, and that's it. I'm done. I just take it from there. Same thing with what voluntarism was said on here. So you said you'd rather see a 32-inch 4K QD OLED monitors. That's fair. I can understand that, but it's interesting to see nonetheless with these innovations as we're seeing from these monitors now from Corsair and LG. But yeah, just why I bring it
Yep.
up. Right, how are we getting on?
I feel like we're getting on pretty good.
Doing pretty good. How about we
Yeah.
move on
Not
to
too.
our next one?
I'd say not too bad for being a little rusty, huh?
I know we're coming off a 3 week hiatus here, guys, so you got to bear with us a little bit, but I think we're getting there. A couple of like technical hiccups in the beginning, but like I said, it's been a few weeks, and we're also streaming off the new system, so like things are going to be a bit iffy for the time being, but I think we're doing good. We're doing fine.
It, I think this is your third PC on the stream. You had your original PC, the Linux build, or the Linux OS,
I
and then
suppose,
you have
yeah,
this
yeah.
new one.
At least the
So,
Linux OS was on the same system I usually use, so I don't know.
oh, okay.
So I don't know. Let's see how it goes. Like, maybe we're making a free PC setup. Well, that's too far. That's fine.
You just need a
Any
bendable screen.
exactly, it would be better. So, anywho, let's move on to this next topic. Now, it's not quite PC hardware related, but it's still interesting to see, and that is the fact that the PS5 has now increased in price. Dun, dun, dun. Sad times if you're a PS5 buyer. As if it wasn't hard enough to buy a PlayStation 5, now they're getting even more expensive. On Thursday, Sony announced that it plans to raise the price of its PS5 consoles in several countries. The increase doesn't affect the US, so you're good, Jerry. You're totally fine. But markets in Europe, Japan, China, Australia, Mexico, and Canada will see a price jump equivalent to roughly €50 per console. In a statement explaining the hike, Sony blames the move on high inflation. Okay, that is a thing, I can understand that. And adverse currency trends. Issues with the global supply chain have made PS5 notoriously difficult to come by since the console launched in November 2020. Well, that's coming up to nearly 2 years now. That's a bit crazy.
Yeah, it is wild.
For a moment, it seemed like Sony was getting close to being able to meet demand when it said it would increase production back in May of this year. But this recent price change makes it clear that there are still some holdups. So, the thing that is a bit like concerned about that is the fact that, again, like we're going on like a near 2 year like since like the actual console was released, and it was affected, of course, by like the semiconductor shortage. That's why it was quite difficult to get your hands on. But I feel it's crazy that people are still trying to get their hands on a PS5 and they haven't been able to. And the thing that I thought was really interesting to take a look at is the fact that Microsoft have come out to say that they will not be increasing the price on the Series X or Series S. Now, not so much for the Series X, but looking at how the Series S is faring, that seems like one of the most, like, the best value consoles to get of this entire generation. What do you think of like the Series S in general, Jerry?
Um,
If you look at it like a value standpoint compared to both the Series X
I say,
and PS5 now.
what is it, $300? I think the most important part of it is it's actually available in stores, which for the normal consumer, they go in, they see it, they buy it. They don't really do. I mean, online shopping is very popular, but a lot of times you see it in the store, you can be like, oh, I'm gonna buy that. So it being in
It's
stock
tempting,
in
isn't
stores,
it?
yeah, it being there in stores is very helpful for it. I think that it's not bad for what you get. What is it, like a 1080p? A 1080p system, pretty much.
I think it actually outputs 1440p, which is quite
Outputs
cool.
1440p.
That's something the PlayStation
Yeah, so
5 only just got like last week or like the week before.
yeah,
It was only a recent thing
yeah.
for them.
That's why I told my cousin to get that monitor because he has a PS5. I was like, well, you can actually use it now. Before it was only 1080p or 4K. For $300, I think it's a steal. I haven't seen a PS5 in store, and I haven't seen the Series X in stores either. So I think they're dropping the ball on that. I don't know what's going on there, but
when you think about the fact that they got the Series S and you can get Game Pass as well, think of that's an even better value proposition on that console as well. I would think.
I don't know. It's kind of hard for me to think right now, just because I just got this new AMD CPUs in my head, and that's like about that's about the price of a console. So I don't even know. To me, the Xbox Series S sounds like a great deal. $300 and I can game it, no problems. Or I spend $300 on a 7600X and have to buy everything else with it too. So for $300, I think that's a steal, and especially if you're only gonna play 1 or 2 games on your console. There's a lot of people have PCs and something else. So if you're only gonna use it for something like that, or for, let's just say you have a child, you want to get it for their room or something, $300 is not a bad deal at all.
That's pretty good going. Especially,
Yeah,
and
it's
again,
hard to
with,
argue with
with Game
that.
Pass as well, makes it even better. Voluntarism. So he said, inflation and the US stupidly printing over $3 trillion. The Federal Reserve should be abolished, destroying my savings. Okay. I don't think we can help you too much with that on the stream, but like, if you want to vent out your
Yeah,
frustrations, then that's totally fine. I can understand that. But like,
you should try crypto.
are we turning into a crypto stream? I don't
No,
know.
just mess it.
Yeah. But like, the one thing that I found quite funny was that Nintendo also jumped in to say that they wouldn't be increasing the price of their Nintendo Switch. And I was kind of like, well, good. Because how can you justify increasing the price on something that is currently on like hardware from 2016?
Yeah,
They're not quite in the
and
same
they
boat when it comes to what is in the PlayStation 5 and Xbox. So I don't care what Nintendo is doing right now.
and they're competing with the Steam Deck right now too. It'd be kind of crazy if they do increase their price.
Yeah, they kind of be shooting themselves in the foot a little bit there anyway. But like, have you seen the stuff going on with Nintendo copyright striking YouTubers?
I heard a little bit of it, but go ahead and inform me more.
So the gist is, while I just get rid of this unwanted spam from our chat, it's been a while since we had those. But basically,
What did we say that made that pop up?
I don't know.
Taxes?
I don't think we said anything
Uh,
there. Maybe crypto. Maybe it comes
yeah,
up from that.
no, oh, maybe. Volunteerism said he was getting fucked by the government, so maybe, maybe that's what happened.
Maybe it could have been that. But like, it's been a while since we've had a spam person in the chat. So like, it's
Yeah,
fine. We gotta protect you guys. Keep you guys safe from all this harassment. I think we're fine.
they're
We're
keeping
fine.
their prices
Oh yeah.
down.
But anyway, so back to the topic at hand. So yeah, so for Nintendo, there's been a lot of people. Emulation has been very prominent since the Steam Deck has come out. So a lot of people have been running Nintendo Switch titles on their Steam Deck via emulation. And if you are showing any of that in a YouTube video, Nintendo have been copyright striking those videos and getting them removed, which is a bit concerning because a lot of the ways that they're running these emulators is perfectly legal, but Nintendo just does not want people to see that you can run Nintendo Switch games on a Steam Deck, which is obviously not going to be ideal for them, but also at the same time, they're not the best people to be dealing with in terms of just preserving their games as a whole. Considering the fact that they discontinue games, so there's no way you can actually get them after the fact. So if people want to emulate their games on any console, doesn't matter if it's on a Switch, not on a Switch, on a Steam Deck or on PC or on PlayStation, Xbox, I don't care, because I think we're at the point where like it's like we can just say now that Nintendo are a bit of a shitty company anyway. So I don't care if people
And
want to do that.
take
What's
it
that?
easy. Take it easy.
Too
I just
far?
don't like the fact that a day one Nintendo game still is like $60 when
Oh
it's
yeah.
been out for years already. So there's a reason why people are emulating you guys' games. That or they charge $40, not $40, but they charge a lot for their classic games in their little system, in their little library and stuff.
Oh
And
yeah.
you gotta buy it from the Wii U to the Switch if you already bought it then, and then you gotta keep buying it to to each console. How many
Oh yeah.
times I gotta buy Super Mario 3 from the classic NES for like $20 each time, So there's a reason why people do this, Nintendo.
I'll omit the F bomb like from the quote, but like it's the Joker quote, like you get what you deserve. So it's not too
Yeah.
surprising. Catching up with the chat, Dylan. This looks a bit like a French surname, Marinois. I hope that I got that correct. And he said, "Yo, back to you, my friend."
Yo.
Voluntarism. Nintendo is going to lose the fight. It's unwinnable. Well, I don't think that Nintendo is going to fare that badly, if I'm totally honest. So we look at the size of Nintendo compared to Valve, or we're referring to compared to like YouTube as an entity. Nintendo will be fine, but the clientele that is going to be buying Nintendo Switch are mostly unconcerned with emulation. We think of the average consumer that's going to be going for Nintendo Switch. But at the same time, there's the people like us who are well aware of how scummy some of Nintendo's tactics are. So fingers crossed there is some sort of like negative effect on their end, but whether that is high enough to be concerning for them is well, remains to be seen. Dylan also asked a question on here. It's a bit separate from what we were discussing, but let's see if we can help him out. So, this might be something you can help with, Jerry, because you've got the same motherboard, I think. Or not the same motherboard, the same chipset. So, he's trying to flash the BIOS on his MAG Z590 Tomahawk Wi-Fi motherboard. Does the new BIOS file have to be a certain file, or is the file I download the exact file I need? So, just going off of not using Z590 myself, I would just say that I have updated the BIOS for MSI motherboards previously, and the actual file that you download from MSI support page is typically a .rom. I think it's .rom file. But the file name it comes with when you download from the support page is the name of the file that you want to keep for when you put it on a USB stick. So the USB stick you need to put it on has to be formatted to FAT32 as well. And then when you plug it into your motherboard, and your motherboard may have like a particular USB port you can plug that into. It doesn't matter so much for like if you're doing the update within the BIOS, but I would still use it anyway. And yeah, it should pick it up from within the BIOS then. But the naming is more important if you're doing BIOS flashback. Now, if you aren't doing BIOS flashback, I wouldn't worry about it. But if you are doing flashback, you may need to look at the specific instructions because it can vary from your motherboard manufacturers and stuff like that. But typically, you'd have to rename it to a particular name, .rom. I believe that's what it is. Am I messing that up, Jerry? Have you had to do a BIOS flashback on Z590? Is it you've got Z590? You got Z590,
yeah.
haven't you? Yeah.
Yeah, it's the Asus Prime. No, I haven't done it yet. On the AMD or on the Asus one, all I had to do was download the file on there. Then it would just let me just click on it like that. I think it automatically chose the right format for it. So yeah, I'm not too sure with the Z590.
If you're updating the BIOS within the BIOS, not through BIOS flashback, you typically don't need to rename the file. It comes with the same thing. So I think you'd be good on that. But if you are doing BIOS flashback, I don't want to tell you the wrong thing, so take a look at the instructions for that. It should be within the motherboard manual for it, but typically you have to rename it to a certain thing for the motherboard to recognize it. But yeah, that should point you in the right direction there. So I hope that does sort it for you. And he's also clarified the pronunciation of his surname, which is Mariano. So I'm glad we clarified that. Mariano. Yeah, that's it. Nice. TechLab, haven't bought a Nintendo product in years. Well, I don't blame you. Based on some of the things we're discussing, it's not surprising you haven't been going for Nintendo. And a lot of people feel the same way. They wouldn't want to be supporting Nintendo based on these tactics they've used to try and preserve their games on their own platform. But it's still like not quite good the way they handled it. Flashback is going back to an older BIOS. No, what it is, it's quite funny because it's the name of the show, it's TechFlashback. That's kind of where I got it from, to do a BIOS flashback. But anyway, so BIOS flashback is where you can update the BIOS on a motherboard without having a compatible CPU installed. So you can update the BIOS without even turning the actual system on, if that makes sense. Am I explaining that correctly? So you don't have to, like, say for example now, I'm going to use the example from my most popular video, which is updating the BIOS for B450 to support Ryzen 5000 series. Not so much an issue now, but basically, B450 would not support the 5000 series CPUs until you did an update. So for that motherboard, you could install the USB stick with the BIOS file, the BIOS update it without a compatible CPU installed, and then install the CPU, and then you could boot it up and it would work without having to have a compatible CPU prior to that. Now, the normal way I would update a BIOS is if I had the CPU already, but not everyone does that. So if you don't have the CPU, you can do it on certain motherboards, but not all of them have that feature, so you have to check that out. I get a lot of people that are very upset that they can't update the BIOS on their system because they don't have a compatible CPU and they can't do BIOS flashback, which is one of the big considerations you have to have. And it's more an issue for AMD most of the time it's been compared to Intel, because Intel only has like 2 generations on a single chipset, and then AMD's had first gen Ryzen all the way up to Ryzen 5000 series. So that's a lot of CPUs they need to be able to support, so you have to do updates for that. But I hope that makes sense. if you are a bit stuck though, there's I got 2 videos on my channel for how to update the BIOS using the traditional way, not BIOS flashback. I should do a video on that though. That'd probably be a good idea to do. But yeah,
Write that down.
write that down. But the most important thing I would say, just if you're doing any BIOS flashback, do not power down the system in any way, because if you do that, you will brick your system. So make sure you're either using like a UPS, or you're absolutely certain you're not going to lose power anyway. You're not going to have like some child pulling cables out and stuff. So just a little pointer on there. Also, Volunteer has been just clarified now what he was talking about with Nintendo losing this fight. He was talking about the actual emulation itself. So yeah, I think they're going to try and not draw too much attention to it now, especially with the fact that they've had LTT trying to actually kind of push the bee's nest a little bit and put their own emulation video up, but they did censor a lot of it. But we'll have to wait and see how it goes. But tying into LTT, I think we just close things out with our final topic for today, Jerry. And I did have a link on here. It's not too important for me to share, but I think a lot of people are probably aware of the issues going on currently with the what's called the LTT store backpack fiasco. So the basic gist is that Linus Tech Tips, or LTT, have very recently brought out their long-awaited backpack. And the backpack itself is catered pretty highly towards gamers, so you can carry around a laptop. There's slots for it, slots for a Steam Deck as well. It's a pretty all-out backpack. You got a lot of features. $250. So it's a pretty expensive product in itself. And then the actual concern of a warranty was brought up, and the basic gist was there isn't a warranty. And Linus's response to that was just, trust us, we'll sort it out. That's not quite a solid confirmation that you'll sort it out, if that makes sense. But it's something that's been a bit concerning, the way it's been really poorly worded. And as you can see on this video now, Gamers Nexus have been very quick to call them out on it, and actually say this is a concerning thing, and the fact that Gamers Nexus does still have to treat them as a manufacturer, because they are actually larger than some PC manufacturers now. LTT store is absolutely massive at the moment. So the fact that there's a bit of issues with the warranty on quite a high-priced commodity is quite concerning. What were your sort of takeaways from this, Jerry, and this whole ordeal? It's been going on for a few weeks, so we've kind of seen the entire fallout of it now. But I'd be interested to know what you thought of it.
I agreed with Gamers Nexus when he said that there should at least be a general outline, at least to help common issues or just stuff like that. Everyone has a base of how to return it, or what you're gonna get with the return, or what qualifies for the warranty. But honestly, I didn't even look at the backpack. What's so special about it that it's $250?
It's more so the actual build quality, I think. So it's reinforced as well, so you can chuck it about, which is obviously quite a lot of people do that with the backpacks anyway. But also, it's you can change out the actual pockets on it for depending what your use case is. So say you had a laptop, you could change out the padding on it for that in particular. A slot for a Steam Deck as well, and they've also built in stuff for what's it called for their LTT screwdriver, so you can have screwdriver slots and stuff for your bits and stuff like that. It's got a lot of random accessories and features which would bring it up as a backpack, as well as being a good build quality essentially.
So it's pretty modular then.
Yeah, basically.
You can bring that. Do you feel that a backpack really needs warranty? I feel like their store probably has a general warranty, or refund. I don't know if a backpack itself really deserves one if they don't have one on their site.
Well, most of the things they sell are clothing, and typically T-shirts and stuff like that would not have a warranty, I would expect.
Yeah, maybe a 14-day refund, right?
I guess so. Why don't I have a look and see if they specify specifically? They may have changed it by now.
Yeah, so I mean, technically, I don't know if it's a backpack. I don't really think it needs a crazy warranty or anything. It'd be different if it had fans in it or something, or some kind of tech in there that, if it was faulty, you would need to get some warranty on it. But I don't know. I feel like that's kind of odd if your store doesn't have a general refund policy or something like that. That they made a big deal about it.
I feel a lot. So go on.
Go ahead. No, go ahead.
I was gonna say, I think some of it is like blown a bit out of proportion, but it is still a
Mm.
reasonable thing to expect on such a high value item, I would think.
Yeah.
Right, so I've got the return policy on here now. I can't tell whether this has been updated since this whole controversy has started. So it just says on here, LTT Store aims to provide a happy shopping experience for all of our customers, but we do understand that sometimes a product is just not right for you. We aim to make our returns and exchanges program as simple as possible for our valued customers. So this doesn't necessarily like equate to like if there's like a fault, more so. But either way, so like returns, we will issue a full refund, including any applicable sales taxes for any products returned within the requirements outlined below. Please note that any shipping fees you paid in connection, that's different off there. What about more so if there is like a fault, like say like a T-shirt was ripped, something along those lines.
Yeah. I feel like if you receive it and you don't make any scuffs or stains or any scratch marks or anything like that, you should be able to return it no problem. But if you're the one that damages it physically or something like that, then maybe return it for store credit or something like that. I don't know. Just
I think that's
it's
what
kind of
Linus meant when he said they would sort it out. But I just think it was very
yeah.
poorly worded because I think as much as I like watching Linus on his channel, I do feel like he kind of like try and still come across as being like a bit like outlandish in some of the things that he says. When sometimes he does need to be speaking or thinking more so as a CEO, which he is.
Yeah.
But he still feels
I'll
as if
take
he's still in like the early days of LTT. Does that come
yeah, I'll
across
take his word for
correctly?
it. Yeah, I get it. He need I'll take his word for it though. He'll take care of me, whatever, you know. He'll give me a jetpack or something instead. Sort that out.
Maybe not quite that far, but yeah. But then obviously, Gamers Nexus have been holding them accountable to this, which I think is understandable because, like I said, they are a large operation now, especially with the LTT store. And
It's a backpack, man.
I know, but then
You know?
they call them out even more by saying, "Oh, we're actually going to increase the warranty period on our Gamers Nexus screwdrivers in response to this." Which I thought was a bit of a ballsy move, you know. And he said this applies to anyone who's
Yeah.
bought a screwdriver within the past, I don't know how many years they've had it, but he said it applies to everyone from day one, which is a pretty big
But
move.
that's hardware.
Right.
I
Okay.
feel I feel backpack is more like apparel. And I don't know. I just feel like when it comes to apparel, that's just more like a 14-day refund, you know, something like that. If I mean if they didn't clarify, then obviously then that is the problem. But I don't know. It's a backpack. If how what can be faulty on a backpack that you need like a warranty or something on it? Even because if you buy a Gucci shirt for what like $500 or $700, you know they're not gonna RMA it for you if something goes wrong with it. After a while, if the fabric starts threads start coming out or something, then you know you're kind of screwed. You bought an expensive shirt for nothing.
I can understand that. They have actually addressed it now, though, so I'm not sure if you've seen their response to this warranty now. So what they have said, this is from their Twitter page. So while performing extra stress testing on our first production batch, we discovered. Oh no, I'm looking at the wrong one. What I'm looking at? I'm looking at something else. Let me find that and we'll get back to it. So they did actually put up
Yeah.
an actual response to the thing. Yeah, they had an issue with the screwdriver. There's some sort of issue with the bit holder. But that's a completely separate product. I don't think there's any controversy regarding that quite yet. But if there is, then it's just not going well for them. But I think I should be able to find on here now. But come on, it wasn't that long ago. God, they're very busy on their Twitter page, as you would expect to be. Where is it? Come on. I did see it somewhere. Is it there? Oh, here we go. I got it now. So, this is what it says on here. It says, limited lifetime warranty is how it's titled. So, we offer a limited lifetime warranty that the LTT backpack is free from manufacturing and material defects. The limited lifetime warranty is valid for the usual and customary life of the LTT backpack. The manner in which the LTT backpack is used directly impacts the usual and customary life of the product, as materials will deteriorate and fade over time, and moving parts, such as zippers, also wear. The limited lifetime warranty does not cover damages caused by misuse, blah blah blah, damage caused by rips, normal wear and tear, products purchased from unauthorized dealers, cosmetic damage, and so forth. So they have actually laid something out there, and I feel this was a good move that they actually did put this out. So I can understand the fact they're saying that they are like, even though they are big, they're not quite big on like the same scale to be able to say like this is like a full on legit warranty. but they have like addressed this, and I'm quite happy to like see it's like kind of like drawn to a close. But it's still a bit of an issue the way it was addressed in the first place, which is something I hope that they don't repeat. But I could be wrong. But yeah, how about Jerry? We close things out with not really a topic, but I think like we've got a bit of a recurring theme on Tech Flashback. And if any of you guys were here for Jerry's first episode when he was a guest and not a co-host, can you remember that, Jerry? That was in January now. That feels like a very long time ago. But one of the questions I brought up to you was one of the pieces of tech hardware, not so much just PCs, just hardware in general you were interested in for 2022. And you said you were interested in what the James Webb Telescope is going to show us over time. And we did see some photos from a couple of weeks ago of what were the photos of last time? Can you recall?
I think it was the farthest distance that we could measure with the telescope. One of it was some clouds and some nebula, and then I don't remember what the third one was. It was
space stuff. That's what it was. It was
yeah,
epic,
some galaxy,
epic
yeah.
space stuff.
Yeah.
But yeah, so we've got more from the James Webb Telescope, this was from a tweet on Latest in Space on Twitter. They put up this photo saying the James Webb Telescope just dropped its latest image, the Phantom Galaxy, home to 100 billion plus planets. And we have this photo. And it's a bit surreal to look at. I don't quite know what I'm looking at. It almost looks a bit like a sort of like black hole swirl. I'm not 100% sure. When I get to these pictures, I'm a bit like lost for words with what to say because it's such an unreal thing to look at. But it's a really interesting image to look at, and the fact that it's so like, if you compare these to some of the other images we've had from space, it's a lot more higher resolution and much clearer, and makes it seem even more intelligible. If that makes sense. Like it's just there, but it's absolutely crazy. What are you thinking on this picture, Jerry?
I think it's pretty crazy. What did they say? There's 1 billion planets on there.
So not many.
I can't even yeah, I was like, I can't even figure out where they all are. And I just think that blue light in the middle looks pretty sick. Whatever star that is, or whatever that is, I like how it illuminates. I just think I just wonder where this is. The Phantom Galaxy. I wonder. It's not like it matters too much to me, but because technically I don't know where anything is in space. But I wonder where this is, like what part of the galaxy, I guess.
It might be a little bit of a track, I'm thinking.
Yeah, I remember someone said that there might be mini black holes in there, which is amazing because I don't even know where to look for.
Oh, okay.
But
yeah,
I think that's great.
I don't really have too much to say about it. I just thought it'd be cool to just to show it, because it's pretty crazy to make us seem even smaller than we already are. But if we get any more photos, we'll have to make sure to bring that up and cover it in any of the next streams. Just before we close things out, I thought I'd catch up on the chat. So I do apologize to Dylan. I didn't quite catch your thing regarding the BIOS update. So in the folder, the file is .270 file. I'm not quite sure if that... It should be whatever you've downloaded from the website. That is the one you should use. So I wouldn't be too concerned with the actual extension on that. So I'd go for that. But no need to apologize though. I can understand that it's a bit a bit of a daunting task to do for a BIOS update. But yeah, just keep the file name as is, unless they specify otherwise. But you should be fine on there. TechLab just notified me something very important that I didn't quite realize, that the Discord link in the video description has expired. I might be using... I know what it is. I had an issue with this a couple of weeks ago where I was using an expired one, which I changed for my video descriptions on all my videos. But I'm reusing settings for TechFlashback from a stream which first began before that change. So I'll have to change that, but thanks for letting me know about it. And I'll have to check your links, Jerry, because I think some may still be incorrect. But
wow,
we can get that fixed. But thanks for bringing that to our attention anyway.
I saw some comments on the Twitter about this. Someone said it's the Eye of Sauron of the picture.
Oh yeah, okay. I could see that a little bit.
And then someone said, "Do you think since there's a billion planets, our clones are on there?" and they're having their episode of Tech Flashback right now, looking at our galaxy,
Never know.
wondering the same thing. Yeah, and then Twiner said Phantom Gaming since it's the Phantom Galaxy, so I guess this is Azrock, the Azrock area.
Oh yeah, that's exactly it. ASRock is everything we need to know when it comes to space. But yeah, there's like alternate versions of us. So there's PC Jerry and Top 3 Jack out there just getting on with flashback tech. You know, just
Yeah.
a good way to look at it. But
uh,
Dylan said a Fibonacci sequence. Is that what?
Fibonacci seed?
I'm not quite sure what that is, but I don't know.
The fettuccine, the
Uh,
fettuccine confederate.
Parmigiano, Reggiano. Who knows?
It's some ravioli.
Yeah. But yeah, I thought that was a cool little way to close it out. But we'll make sure to keep revisiting the James Webb Telescope whenever it brings us any juicy photos to take a look at. But
Oh
yeah,
yeah.
I'm gonna have to close things out there, Jerry. But I really enjoyed that one. I think it was good to get back into it.
Oh yeah. It was a good episode.
I
Shout out
enjoyed
to
it.
everyone in the chat.
Yeah, thank you guys for tuning in. It's nice to see everyone stopping by, especially when we've been away for a couple of weeks. I always know it's a bit difficult to get back into the swing of things after a bit of a break, but we should be getting onto a bit more of a regular routine. Like the first week, I was busy working on a video that night, the night for Tech Flashback, and then last week you were busy, Jerry, so we couldn't do it last week. So it seems like it's been a while, but like we're getting back to it, you know, and we should be okay. I'll need to take a look because there's a Tuesday next month that I'm going to a wedding fair. So I'm not quite sure which week that is, but maybe we might miss the week, or we could maybe do it on like a day earlier or day after. Maybe. We'll see how it goes. If we can line up our schedules, then maybe we'll sort something out. But like I did say about this on the last episode, my schedule may change a little bit with the engagement life going on. But we'll see how it goes. And hopefully we'll be able to tie it all together. But yeah, is there anything you want to say before we close things out, Jerry? Anything you want to plug or anything like that?
You know how we're talking about PSUs and that 1,000 watt, 1,300 watt,
Yeah.
and if the GPU will be able to run on them. Well, technically, I got 1,500 watt, two PSUs, 750 watt back there, four GPUs on them. I think no matter what you get, it'll be running at 5. If I can fit 4 on.
Maybe rather than a
1,500.
high-powered PSU, we need new cases that can accommodate 2 power supplies. That makes even more sense. It's even better.
Yeah, it's just so. I think you should be fine with whatever PSU you get, but who knows? And if you guys want to help me out, I do need about 12 more subscribers to reach 500. I'm not just telling you to sub just to sub, even if you want to sub just to sub, that's fine. But if you want to watch, tech reviews, GPU reviews mostly, me streaming Call of Duty or Halo for the most part, and Madden, feel free to check out my channel. I'll eventually do podcasts too, but I'm not saying that for now because work's in the way. But either way, join my Discord as well. And if not, we got PC Jack, and he's gonna give you his info.
Well, I'm just about to drop your channel in the chat just in case people haven't seen it in the video description. But yeah, you guys make sure to head over to Jerry's channel. He deserves all the subs that he gets, especially with the amount of GPU coverage that he does. I don't quite know how you manage to do so many, but like all praises to you because you do an excellent job. So guys, make sure to head over to Jerry's channel and drop him a sub and show some love because he absolutely deserves it. But he's got a video coming up for this 3070 on Friday. Is that correct?
The PNY Accelerate Gaming Rebel 3070
That's
triple
it.
fan. And I just say triple fan because I had a single fan and dual fan of certain cards. So yeah.
That's fair. That's all right. But yeah, make sure to head over there, guys, and give Jerry all the love that you can. And yeah, I've got the Pure Base 500DX case review coming this Friday, so feel free to check that out. So if you haven't yet, make sure you've subscribed to both myself and Jerry for both of those videos when they go live. And also, as I said, I will make sure to fix the Discord link in the video description, but you can find it on the main channel links anyway, as well as Jerry's Discord in the video description and on his channel. So if you fancy having a talk with us and hanging out, posting memes, shit talking, all that stuff is great. And yeah, so we may be back for next week. We'll see what's happening with the schedule, but we'll be sure to get back onto the regular routine as much as we can. And thanks for stopping by, and we'll see you guys next time. Peace out. And as usual, I think we've done better this week because we've actually rolled out the intro video thing at the end. So
Nice.
it's
That's
all
all we
going
knew was
good.
a good